Welcome back everybody to another video, and today we're going to be starting a new series, and this is for the MK4 GTI right here. Now this series is going to be called From Ashes to Apex. Now we're going to be turning this car into a time attack monster. That's my overall goal. I want to fully forge the motor, build it, and get the car exactly where I want it. Now I've already pulled the motor out of the car, as you can see here, and we've done some investigating, and the block is fine. There was little debris in the pickup, and I'll show that on the screen right now. And then I have some other clips of the camshafts and how all that stuff looked. So for this build, we're going to give a big shout out to 034 Motorsports. Now they have partnered with the channel to help me out on some of my purchases, and this is going to help me a lot on this build, with turbo manifolds to internals to little parts I may need. They're going to be helping us out, so thank you guys so much. So at first I was even contemplating if I wanted to rebuild this because it was just so terrible. There was previous wire repairs that were just making the car act funky, so it was already off to a bad start when I got the car. And I took it to the track after putting tons of money to get it somewhat right, and the second session the car catches fire. So that's a great way to start this build off, and it kind of annoyed me. The car sat for about 6 months, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do with it, but now I know what I want to do. I want to rebuild it. This car means way too much to me. I built a cage in it. We did so much modifications. We did a turbo upgrade, and we just did so much stuff, and I don't want to let it go. And the overall goal with this, like I said, is to build a time attack car. And recently I've really wanted to get into racing and doing time attack stuff, so I feel like this chassis and this car is going to be great for that. And so you may be wondering, what's the first step? So the first thing I'm going to be doing is tearing apart the existing wiring harness, and a company called Carrot Top Tuning has an aftermarket tucked wiring harness kit that replaces all the wiring harness in the engine bay. So it's super nicely loomed, everything is perfect, goes right where you want it to. You could tuck it, make it look clean, and that's exactly what I want. So that's the first thing we're going to be buying, and they also agreed to help me with this purchase, so that's going to help us out a lot. After that, we're going to go ahead, tidy up the engine bay, probably respray it black, because you can see that it's just like completely charred up, and it just looks disgusting, and we definitely don't want that once we put a fresh looking motor back in. Now looking at the block, it looks pretty rough, and that's because it is rough. We got a burnt dipstick right here, we got burnt knock sensors. Pretty much every sensor on this car is bad, and we're gonna have to replace all of that. So I said, you know what, forget that for a moment, let's go ahead and pull the motor out and let's build it. So I want to do rods, pistons, and that's about it. Simple build, something that will last and do what I want it to do and fit my overall power goal. I went ahead and already boxed up the salvageable things. Now we got our intake manifold in here, we got our oil cooler in here. In the bottom we got a clutch, flywheel. Now the clutch is going to get replaced, but this car actually already has a ECS tuning light and flywheel, so obviously this car was taken care of. Obviously at some point this car was tracked, and funny enough, I found time attack and autocross time cards in the dash of this car, like stuffed in the bottom. So this car has some history, and I want to keep that going, and I want to build this. So here's the head. So I've removed the cams, and as you can see, The overall condition of the cam bearings or cam journals are really nice. The only thing that worried me is that right there. It's hard to see, but it looks like there's a chip on the actual surface of the cam bearing on this corner, but it looks like it was a casting error. And I mean, there's no other signs of damage in the actual motor. The rest of the cam bearings look fantastic. Exhaust, intake side look amazing. So I want to pull the head off next, and we'll see the underside of the valves and see what's going on there. But other than that, everything looks clean up here. This has 200 and something thousand miles, and if this is the original motor, which I will try to find out, match the numbers and stuff, then that is amazing. But this definitely needs to go to a machine shop and get gone through. Alright, unfortunately, we need a special tool to get these head bolts off, so I'm going to go ahead and order that. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and work on something else. So I took the witness tray out already because I've already been in here. Take these main cap bolts off, and we'll go ahead and inspect how those look. We'll look for any signs of heat damage, anything that's of concern. So this is cylinder number 3. Just broke loose. Now you have thrust washers in between here, and you can reuse those if they aren't bad, but we're going to go ahead and replace them once we get everything redone. Wow, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this rod bearing looks fantastic. It literally looks like it has no hours on it. The crank is immaculate, so this is a really good sign, guys. Now this is only cylinder 3, but that's like in the center, so that'll give you a good idea of how the rest are, because this probably got a lot of heat. But that's how you know this had good oiling. There's frequent oil changes, so this is a really good sign. Okay, that just made me so much happier. I looked at number 4, exactly the same. It is so perfect. So this motor was definitely taken care of, and that is such a good sign, and that gives me so much more hope for this build that I'll invest the right money into something that will work out for me. So this is gonna be a fun build, guys. Now I think I'm gonna end today's video off there. It was a short one, but I just wanted to introduce you guys into this build and get you excited just like I am. So in the next episode, it'll probably be spaced out. I'll probably have some more mods for these cars in between these videos. But if you guys want to see more videos, ask about it. Please ask me, like, hey, what's going on with this car? Because I really want to know your guys' input and what I should do with the build and what you guys have done with these cars. So we're going to go ahead and end today's video off right here, but in the next video we'll fully disassemble this. I have to buy special tools to remove all this, so we'll go ahead and get those ordered, and then our next video, which you guys will look forward to, is removing the internals and probably taking it to a machine shop and having them look at it.